Hello everyone, and welcome back to my sunroom on this beautiful day. It's the last day of April and I wanted to share a blooms tour with you all. There's a lot going on in my collection that is unusual. And here is Phal Legato, and she has done something this year that she has never done. All of her blooms that I showed you in last month's video, all of those faded and fell off the plant. And now she is on a second bloom cycle. All of the spikes that she had, they elongated, and now she's got 14 more gorgeous blooms. Last month she had 30 blooms. So this plant has just produced so many blooms this year. This has been a really good year for orchid blooms because it's not been so hot like it was the previous several years. Our spring has been cooler this year, and so the blooms have just stayed longer, and had to share all of this beauty with you all today. The next orchid up is Phal speciosa times equestris rosea. This is the best bloom cycle that this one has ever had. I've had this one for about 12 years, and it has just bloomed so beautifully. These blooms last about 2 months, and then they all fall off. But right now it's in its peak bloom, and I just had to share the gorgeous blooms on this beautiful plant. One of my favorites here again. And this is what the back wall of my sunroom looks like right now. My phals have just outdone themselves this year. I've never seen so many blooms on these plants ever. So many of them have elongated their spikes and continue to produce new blooms. I see Marianne back in the back right there. There's still blooms that have yet to open on that plant. I've never seen that plant produce as much as it has this year. So a lot of times when you have a nice cool spring, you'll notice that your blooms last longer. The past several years, we've gone from very cold weather right up to very hot weather, and orchid blooms just don't like that. So these cooler temperatures that we've had, the orchids have just loved it. So I'm just really happy with the way that they have bloomed this year. It's unbelievable. Here's a close-up of my Phal Chin Diamond, and what a gorgeous spike this has this year. It spiked late this year. It is just now blooming. I don't know why. It just decided not to spike with the others, but as you see, it's putting on quite a show. From what I see, there's about 33 blooms and buds on this plant, so I'll continue to show you the progress of it in bloom. And here's a close-up of my beautiful Magic Art. So many of you comment on this beautiful plant and these most unique blooms that it has produced this year. And do you see how the spike is elongated? And I have 4 more buds of these unusual harlequin type of blooms. This has been like having 2 plants in one this year. And also, I noticed the other day, it has a new spike, go figure, that is about 3 inches long. So I'm going to be having blooms on this plant for a very long time. I highly recommend this plant. It is just such a vigorous grower. It blooms a lot, and you will just love this plant. The foliage is beautiful. I'm noticing that it's getting a new leaf right now, so it's just putting out new growth everywhere. And here's a super close-up on my Phal Purple Dust. She has been in bloom for about, I think about 7 or 8 months now. These are the same blooms. This one has just bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. It just keeps blooming. And I noticed yesterday, it has a new spike as well. Can it be all these cool temperatures that we're having just told it to spike again? Could be, but whatever has been causing these to have another spike to grow another spike in the spring, it just excites me. I've never seen that happen. I love it. And here's my beautiful Phal Sogo Lawrence Tahiti Sunset. Gorgeous bloom on this plant. This is the one that was growing in moss last year. I converted it over to medium-sized orchiata bark this year, and it has taken off. The roots are just doing super. So this one is just beautiful. As you see here again, it's elongated. I hope you can see this. I believe you can. More buds. The spike on this one just keeps elongated, and there's some more buds on that side as well. So I'm going to have some more buds. This has just been an awesome grow year. And this is my other Phal Sogo Lawrence Tahiti Sunset, and they're exactly the same plant, but they're not exactly the same plant. These blooms are more compact than the one I previously showed you, and the leaves are also more compact. This one is growing in live New Zealand sphagnum moss, and you can see how the moss is growing up the pot. The moss has actually been in bloom for a while. It's also growing a new leaf, so this one has done just very, very well. The color is slightly different. You can buy two plants of the same thing and they just don't end up being exactly the same, which is the beauty of growing orchids. They're all so unique, so different, and such a joy to grow. And you also have to see my Phal Sogo Red Poker. Wow, this one has put on quite a show for me this year. This year, all of the blooms are slightly different. Some of them are just the regular purple with very little white, but some of the blooms, like right here, look at how much white there is on the outside of that bloom. It's just so pretty. They're just all very different this year, which makes it very charming and very unusual to look at. I love this plant. And here is Phal Sogo Vivian. Many of you have this plant and you've made the same type comments that I have seen with this plant. For some reason, it is a really, really prolific bloomer, but also I get bud blast on it and I really don't know why. This year, I tried to take special care to see that it did not have bud blast, and it still did. It was the only one of my plants that had any bud blast, as a matter of fact. Someone asked me what that is. Do you see how this bloom right here did not fully open? That is a form of bud blast. This one must just be extremely sensitive to temperature changes or light changes. I don't know, but it's still, this is a very pretty bloom cycle on this plant this year. And look at all these blooms on my Phal Brother Red Caribe. My goodness, this one has bloomed more than I have ever seen this plant bloom. I have had this one for about 12 years. The foliage on this plant is extremely healthy. This is just a very vigorous plant, but I've never seen it bloom like this prolifically. So yes, she's had a really good bloom year as well. And I think I'll end this bloom tour on my beautiful Phal Kaleidoscope, the gorgeous blooms on this one. Wow. I just wanted to thank you all for all of your kind comments, all of your concern. My family and I are doing well. The loss has been difficult for us to navigate, but God has always been faithful to my family and to me, and for that I'm just so grateful. Tomorrow we're going to be celebrating May 1st. Tomorrow is my husband's and my 24th wedding anniversary, so that is definitely something to celebrate. My daughter is an excellent cook and baker, and she's planning an awesome meal for us tomorrow that I'm looking forward to. I also meant to mention to you all, thank you all for watching my channel. Some of you have been watching my channel now for 7 years. The 7th year anniversary of Orchid Whisperer was March 31st. I'm not believing that. So I'm going to be trying to get into doing videos more regularly now. It is very therapeutic for me. I love hearing from you all. So I am planning on doing more videos this summer. And before I end this video, I would love to say the blessing over you and your families. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn His face toward you and give you and your families His shalom peace. You all make it a great day. We'll see you soon.